Good evening. This is Luke Revan, Assistant Township Manager here at East Brandywine. I'm addressing you in my capacity as the online moderator for this regular session of the Board of Supervisors. Due to the coronavirus pandemic and to protect the health and safety of township officials and our residents, the board is conducting this meeting via webinar. This meeting is being recorded and will be rebroadcast on the township's YouTube channel. This meeting was posted on the township website consistent with Act 15 of 2020. The agenda for this meeting was also posted on the township's website at the address ebrandywine.org/agenda center. The agenda is also visible on your screen. Members of the Board of Supervisors and township staff, including myself, are present at the township building for this meeting. Members of the public joining us can hear us, but your own phones and computer microphones are muted, so we cannot hear you. To enable an organized meeting, we're following the following procedure. As with in-person meetings, I ask that all participants wait to be recognized by Chairman Scribner before speaking, and that all comments be directed to the board chairman. To be recognized, you must first ask me, in my capacity as moderator of this webinar, to unmute your audio connection. You can request this at any time via the chat feature located on the left-hand side of your screen. Very early in the meeting is the portion of the agenda for comments on non-agenda items, so I would encourage anyone who would like to speak there to begin the process of getting my attention to have your microphone unmuted. Each person recognized by the chairman should state their name and their address before posing a question. And to the board members present, I'd like to reiterate that some of the feedback we've received on meetings in this format has included a request for better audio quality. And so I would like to remind everyone to please use the microphones that are available at the dais. I'll now turn the meeting over to Chairman Scribner.
Good evening. Welcome to the East Brandywine Township Board of Supervisors regular session meeting for Thursday, September 17th, 2020, 6:30 p.m. A reminder that a recording device will be used during this meeting, and we're going to, Luke just gave our public instructions, so we're going to go on and move to public comment for non-agenda items. Just a reminder, rules for conduct of public meetings established by Resolution 2001-08. The time allotted to each individual making a comment shall be 3 minutes unless otherwise set by the presiding officer. Additional public comment may be granted at the discretion of the presiding officer at the conclusion of the meeting. We're going to go ahead and turn it over to public comment for non-agenda items.
At this point, I have no one requesting to be recognized, but given the proximity of this agenda item to the beginning of the meeting, perhaps we should return to this?
Understood. All right, so we're going to go on to minutes and reports. We're going to have a motion. Do I have a motion for the August 17, 2020 vacancy board meeting minutes?
I have one question.
Yes.
I got a chance to read all the minutes, which I appreciate given to me by staff. I was just curious because I didn't hear that. It said you recommended Carl Croft to fill the vacant supervisor position, and I thought you just kept it as having 2 candidates.
My words, obviously I'm paraphrasing, but I believe I said Carl Croft and Greg Wagman were my recommendations, and
left it at that.
Correct.
Okay, then that just needs to be changed.
Understood.
Okay,
Anything
that's all.
else, Jason?
No.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the vacancy board minutes, striking that one statement and correcting that to Carl Croft and Greg Wagman?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, in the August 20th, 2020 Board of Supervisors meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the Board of Supervisors regular session minute meetings Thursday, September 17th. For the meeting that took place on August 20th.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We already got copies of all the treasurer's reports, but let's just, if you guys need a minute to get caught up on those.
Is there any way that when you look at it from the previous month, you gotta just take it? There's no way of tracking like any significant deviation in the bank account?
No, because everything would be done month to month.
Right. So you gotta look at the previous month in
Right.
order to assess any kind of significant changes.
But let's take a minute and we'll go over everything. If there's something that sticks out.
Yeah, Supervisor Sherbach, I draw your attention to two of the 9 reports.
Okay.
The one that immediately follows the bank account balances is
Right.
the check detail,
Okay.
which shows all the activity
Right.
in all funds since the last meeting.
Okay.
And then there is a similar report for all the activity in deposits since the last meeting. So when the board essentially makes a motion to pay the bills, it's that report that they're approving.
Okay.
So
Like Francis Hall there, that would be a premium check, premium installment,
For insurance.
Scott?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
it is, yeah, it's a package of insurance coverages.
But one of your regular installments?
Yeah, I believe it's
Okay.
quarterly.
Just looking, focusing on some of the larger ones. And Hydroterra Professionals, and what project is that?
That is the 537 plan update,
Okay.
the sewer plan.
Okay.
Luke, while they're finishing up, did you have any non-agenda?
No, I still have no requests to address the
Let's go
board.
ahead and close non-agenda then.
Good. Yep.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report and disperse the funds as according.
I'll second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we all got copies of the township manager, inspector, the township manager's report and the building inspector's report, but I always do ask, is there anything that you wanted to highlight that was maybe changed between now and then? No? Okay. And then how about Matt? Everything okay with Matt's stuff? And then we don't have, I don't believe we have our chief with us today for the meeting. Anybody, if there's anything?
I'm here, Kyle.
You are there, chief. Okay. Anything you needed to add?
No, we're good.
Thank you. So let's just go collectively for how about the fire department? Is the fire department with us? Okay. You want to collectively do the 4 of them then?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, and I'm sorry, the reports for the township managers, the building inspections, the fire, and the police.
I'm sorry, point of order on a technical matter here. There is a representative of the fire company available. I will unmute the mic and see if they have anything to
Okay,
add.
perfect.
And then we can just go right back to the motion where you
Perfect.
left it.
Who's joining us?
Captain Ora of the East Brandywine Fire Company.
Sorry
Hello.
about that. Can you Hello?
Captain, you with us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, this is Supervisor Scribner. I just wanted to see if you had anything to add to your fire company report, or if there's anything specific you'd like to talk about.
No, only one point of clarification under the fuel usage. For pretty much the entire month of August, the fuel pumps at West Brandywine Township were unavailable for us to use, so that's the discrepancy in the fuel usage you'll see there. I think that's the only thing.
Thank you, Captain.
Make a motion to approve the township manager's report, the building inspector's report, police department's report, and the fire company's report.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm sorry, did you want to say?
Yeah, I'll second the motion. You jumped me, so.
Sorry.
That's okay. I will second that motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, old business, the approval of the submission of Vision Partnership Program grant application for comprehensive plan update, and I'll turn that over to Scott.
Thank you. This is the culmination of, I think, the last couple months that I brought this to the board's attention. You have in your packets support letter from our Planning Commission to submit a grant application to the Chester County Planning Commission Vision Partnership Program grant program rather. This is a matching grant, as I've indicated before. The township essentially will pay the invoices for the consultant or consultants in advance. And once the comprehensive plan and the the official map are adopted, the revisions to those two are adopted, then we can submit the invoices, canceled checks, and request for reimbursement to the county, or the estimate, which we believe is a high estimate, is $70,000 for the entire project from start to finish. And we would be matching 35% of that, or 24,500. The difference would be the grant reimbursement. So if the project comes in at less than $70,000, the reimbursement would be less based on the percentage. If the expenses come in higher than 70,000, we're capped at the, I believe it's 45,500 is the grant amount. There are 8 criteria and a summary in your packets. Those are the documents that, or the different sections of the application that the ordinance task force has been working on for the last 3 months. And basically what these are is justification for the request. And also particularly criterion number 1 is the demonstration of how this request comports with the Landscapes 3, the County Planning Commission, or the county's comprehensive plan. And criterion 1 lists the 6 subsections on preserve, protect, appreciate, live, prosper, and connect. Those are the 6 items that this application needs to focus on. The application needs to be submitted electronically. There is a letter which I don't see in packet, but I previously submitted that to the board, which it's a letter of commitment of the grant match of $24,500. It commits to having me as the grant administrator for the township, and it currently lists Luke, since he's the acting treasurer, for um, for the township. And of course, if that changes, that can be changed. But that's the overview of the application. I'd also remark that last night at our ordinance task force meeting, I mentioned that Euclid Township had submitted last week their comprehensive plan update. They're a little bit ahead of us. Not sure if they had applied for a grant from the County Vision Partnership Program. And that was one of the concerns, that we were competing against them, which we're not. Their grant, or their plan is in its final stage, and the municipality's planning code requires that their plan, which also includes the official map, so they're doing the same thing as East Brandywine Township is proposing. Those two items are up for review. The MPC requires them to submit those to the adjacent municipalities, plus in this case, the Downingtown Area School District, for their review and comment. And I would ask if the board would review that. It's an electronic file on their website, along with, particularly with regard to those areas of East Brandywine Township that are adjacent to Euclid Township. And for the most part, the areas that are adjacent to East Brandywine are areas of open space and rather rural development, as opposed to some of the higher density development that they have in different parts of their community. But Euclid was, for 2009 comprehensive plan, Euclid was one of the few municipalities that provided substantive comments. And I would ask that the township, East Brandywine Township, take the time to do the same for Euclid's comp plan and official map. So if the board has any questions, I'll certainly be glad to answer those. I thought Jim Buxala was supposed to also be present in case the board had any other questions regarding Planning Commission support, which they're fully backing. The Planning Commission's fully backing this application.
I read his letter. I don't have any questions. Do either of you?
I don't either.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the submission of the Vision Partnership Program grant application for the comprehensive plan update.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to go into new business, and I'll turn it over to Luke for the option to appoint Township Treasurer.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. I'm pleased to recommend to you a candidate for the position of Township Treasurer, the duties of whom I have been performing since October of 2019. By way of further background, as a result of the culmination of staff turnover, the budget process last year, and the recommendations contained in our 5-year plan, we opted to advertise to fill the position vacated by Mary Slade as Secretary Treasurer as just Secretary. Late last year, Lisa Velaitis joined our team as Secretary. In the intervening period, the township has postponed our search for a treasurer pending a better understanding of the fiscal impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. The board has now authorized staff to seek qualified candidates for both positions. This evening, I'm pleased to recommend Lisa for the position of Township Treasurer. If appointed, Lisa will serve as Secretary and Treasurer, and staff will continue our efforts to fill the secretary position. Lisa has demonstrated an interest in the financial position, has the prior work experience, educational background, and has demonstrated an aptitude for the position. At this time, I respectfully request the board appoint Lisa Velaitis as Township's treasurer and acknowledge for the record the successful completion of her 6-month probationary period. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody?
No, I'm fine. Fine with Lisa in the position.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Lisa Velaitis as our new township treasurer since she completed her 6-month probationary period.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Okay, the next item on our list is the appointment of a township supervisor. I'm sorry, township solicitor. We were recently lost one of our assets in Kristen Camp as our solicitor. So we're in a quandary right now on hiring a new solicitor. I will tell you, unfortunately, we just lost Kristen as of Monday, I believe it was, this week. I personally have not had any discussion with any other solicitor appointment for tonight. However, the board, the majority of the board, not including myself, did meet with a person of interest that they wanted to have a discussion about. But before doing that, and I'm not saying that they're planning on appointing this individual, but right now that's the only person I know that's on the table, unless the board can tell me otherwise.
No, solicitor.
I'm sorry, it's first solicitor.
I have none other.
No, nope.
Okay, so my questions that I had, I think it would be beneficial, and we can do this in a public meeting, or we can step into executive session, since this is clearly one of those topics, and do it in executive session, if your pick is readily available to talk.
We weren't planning to.
Okay,
You
well then,
You were invited to a
No, I
presentation
understand.
of that, and you had an opportunity to then call him thereafter and ask any kind of questions that you had.
I didn't realize until now that you guys that was your only pick. So I thought we would have done an RFP, or we would have discussed this with a magnitude of people. But if you guys have met with one and you're okay with that one, I'll ask you the questions on behalf of him. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think I'm okay with that.
Because
we
I
did
think-
the same thing with Kristen, I believe, in 2018, and RP.
No, you're right. We didn't. We did that for a
This is
reorg.
something that's I've been looking into for probably about 2 years now,
Okay.
2.5 years.
So my first question is, can I get the spelling of your candidate's name for solicitor?
Sure. Mark Jonas and Zachary Sievertsen. Sivertsen.
Okay, so the questions that I would ask are, the first one would be, to your knowledge, does either Mr. Jonas or Mr. Sievertsen have any personal relationships with any of us at this table? Any prior meetings before last week where you had your executive session? Any email correspondence? Any personal meetings? And obviously, I would hold your answers to the accountability of Mr. Jonas and Mr. Sievertsen.
Sure. I met with Mr. Jonas prior to last week. I don't have any business dealings with him, if that's what you're asking. But I wanted to, someone's achievements can be viewed online. I wanted to see how he was in person, and I'm happy with what I heard, and him receiving the award last year for the top litigator for zoning and real estate matters in Philadelphia area is kind of enough for myself.
Mr. Sherbeck.
I have no personal dealings with him.
Okay, no business dealings.
No business doing.
Okay. I've never met either of them. That's why I would have thought I would have the opportunity. If I'll tell you, if I was, have they been notified that they're candidates for?
I did notify him, said that you were on the agenda. The Township Solicitor appointment was on the agenda.
And he didn't have any interest in being part of it?
Being part of what?
Here tonight, so we could ask questions?
No, he wasn't appointed. So why would
If I was thought of for a job position, I think I would be present, but.
Well, I think
Let
that's
me,
something
let
that-
me
I mean,
ask you this,
Yep.
since we're getting into this. Why did you not show up at the presentation?
Great question, because I was dealing with township matters that struck up at a development with a major problem that unfortunately needed to be dealt with at that exact minute due to possible problems that by not being there could have resolved.
And you did call the township and tell us you weren't coming.
Correct.
Why did you not call a day or so after the presentation, since he was a viable candidate?
I
and
didn't
to
know.
ask all the questions that you're asking tonight.
Because I had no idea, to be honest with you, other than the email correspondence that you had an interest in putting a solicitor on the docket. That's all I knew.
I told you his website address.
Yeah,
his-
but that's, I get 300 emails a week,
It's
so.
not my problem that you're not reading your emails.
Okay, so back to my questions. My next question is, do you guys know of any, as you know, we have high profile litigations going on right now in our township. And my concern is if any of these solicitors, and especially the one that we're going to choose to be our township solicitor, would have had any past relationships, personal or business, with the following firms: Mark Kaplan and Associates, Peter Miller, Gene Orlando, Brandywine Village Associates, and Paul Prince. Do you know if there's any relationships with any of these people? This is a big litigation going on in our township. I think it's very important that we discuss who our next candidate is going to be and if they've had any conflict of interest with these parties.
Well, I think that I can't determine what the conflict of interest is for anyone else, but I can tell you that there are ways of dealing with conflicts of interest. If there were, I believe he was an expert witness used in many state and Commonwealth federal cases. Expert witness is supposed to be someone who has vast experience in that area and is non-biased. So, like I said, I can't speak for him, but
So don't you think this is something that we should ask him in person? I'm hearing from, now we've gotten numerous letters. And again, I found this out through the grapevine because unfortunately I wasn't able to make it to that meeting. I didn't realize we were doing the hurry up offense to get a solicitor immediately in here, or at least one that we couldn't have talked about numerous times or had an opportunity to talk with other firms. But my question is, I'm hearing now that there's a possible conflict of interest with one of the major litigations that we have going on in our township.
you mean
And
Mr. Kaplan?
if there should be a conflict of interest, there's no problem naming a special counsel just for that case.
So,
Okay.
well, this is important. The taxpayers foot our bills, so we need to find out who would that special interest firm be?
Well, first you have to find out if there's a conflict of interest.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I would have thought you guys would have known this.
Can't make a
Didn't
conflict of
know there
interest.
was a conflict of interest.
Okay, well, I'm
Those
telling you right now, we got
mentioned
emails
this
today that just came in that say that there is definitely a conflict of interest. And I would assume you guys read them or you would like to read them now. And if you want to do this in executive session, I'm happy to go back.
That's
Oh, why don't you
somebody's
just get all your
opinion
comments
if
out?
it is a
I'm not going to
conflict
debate
of
you right now.
interest.
So just why don't you get everything you want to say on the
Yep.
record,
All right.
and we'll go and do what we're going to do.
Yep.
You know,
So that was my next one. So I do believe, and I want to get it on record, I do believe from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing in the professional world of lawyers and solicitors, that there is a possible conflict of interest. So I'd like that to be noted that I clearly don't want to go down that road if at all possible, because there is certainly no dire urgency tonight. We could appoint somebody as interim solicitor and we could go ahead and revisit this. My next question would
hold
be.
on, I'll just one
Yeah.
thing though. Conflict of interest happen all the time, Kyle. Just
It
look
doesn't
at-
mean that
excuse
we
me.
should do
Can I
it.
finish?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at Lan Mackerlane. Was just hired today to oppose an application of one of my properties. That's a conflict of interest. Kristen sells a conflict of interest. She hired an outside firm. That was up to her to decide if it's a conflict of interest, not anyone else. So, I don't know really
Okay, so what are the, what other firms besides this one firm that Jason brought to your attention, Mr. Sherbeck? What other firms did you guys interview? Just the one?
It's the one.
Just the
correct?
one? And what are his firm's charges per hour?
His charge is
$225.
$225 an hour.
So we're actually raising our rates on solicitor now by, I believe, to be $45 or $55 an hour. So we're going up.
I don't
And
believe that's the case.
our solicitor right now, we pay $190 an hour. So we're going up 225. Yeah, so we're going up. So that's a lot. Now, are we paying, where is his firm located?
Bluebell.
Bluebell. So are we paying for drive time for him to come here?
No,
Not paying for drive time.
no, only for litigation. And Kyle, it's $35 an hour, but you can't really make decisions off of just an hourly rate.
I think it's important.
It's important to consider, but is it within the range of what's appropriate and what's the standard in the business? Absolutely. I think everyone knows that municipal lawyers are usually generally within the $175 to the $250 range an hour, where a private, same firm, same individual in the private world would be upwards of $350 to $550. So to be able to compare someone hourly, and sure, it's important, but you also have to compare someone's experience, what he or she, what they can do in that hour that they're charging their client. People work at different levels based on their experience, and they have a better product and at a faster pace.
Are we reviewing all our legal bills when they come in to see if the activities are exactly what was done and the amount of time doing it?
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
basically how you're looking at every single
Oh,
legal
absolutely.
bill.
Absolutely.
Well, we need to approve every bill before we pay them, so that's something that we'll definitely have to take into consideration. But
So we're going up almost 15% for our new solicitor, if so chosen. So I think that that's a very important statistic that we need to be clarifying here. But did you guys, so you haven't done review rates on anybody else other than this firm?
yes, I have actually. Like I said, I've been trying to look at different firms over the past 2 years when I lost confidence in ours.
So how did you come by Mr. Jonas? Who recommended him to you?
Found him from the internet years ago.
Found him from the internet.
From magazines, yes.
Well, I got all my questions out on the record. I'm 100% not in favor of doing a new solicitor, especially under these circumstances that have been brought to us in light today. I think it's very important that we note that there is a possible conflict of interest with the one chosen. My recommendation would be that we table the discussion for solicitor, I apologize again. Table the discussion for solicitor until we can have a proper executive session and get the questions answered and find out if there is indeed a conflict of interest with this new firm. The other thing is, I think it's important that before you just assume that we would be having a new special advisory council to work on it, if there is, who in fact that is, I think it's important that we discuss
That wouldn't be up to us right now, Kyle, until there's a conflict that's discovered. Then they would, if they feel there's a conflict, that person would come to us and say, there's a conflict. I recommend X, Y, and Z for the special counsel where we can interview them if it's someone different. Generally the process.
Understood.
So I don't think that we can choose anyone for a special counsel right now unless that person was existing, such as the one Stacy Fuller from Gulf Rock Greenwood in 2018.
So my remarks will be noted that I have strong opposition to this. I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's a catastrophe for taxpayers' money, especially if the fact if one is appointed that does have a conflict of interest. Going up in tune of 15% rate increase. We're doing this in a time where our township is strapping our boots on to try and do the best we can with the financial matters on top of hiring new appointments in-house. I think it's a terrible idea. You guys can have the table.
Well, I want to just say that we had to ask you several times for a presentation, and over the course, well, I'll let Jason tackle that because I know there were several opportunities to give you the opportunity to review this firm with us at a presentation. And there were several days afterwards where that if you were interested in what we were doing and trying to replace a solicitor, you could have taken opportunities to ask all those various questions.
Well,
But
my
you
questions would be for
waited
you.
till the opportunity tonight to ask those questions
Absolutely.
and not make any attempt to talk to a law firm who we feel is a good law firm.
Yeah, absolutely. I ask my questions in public. I feel as though that way it's documented and there's no redacting of statements. Everything's on record. Jason, anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Mark Jonas and Zachary Severston from Eastburn and Gray as our new Township Solicitor. Have a second.
And planning?
And as well, I was gonna do it 3 different ways.
Yep.
I'm gonna do it just to keep it. I'm gonna do one motion at a time. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Mark Jonas and Zachary Silverstein and Gray as our new Township Solicitor.
This is the first I've heard of the planning too, so that's even really bad that I haven't even heard of a planning solicitor being appointed today too, but that's neither here nor there. That's your guys' show.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
And I'd like to make a motion to remove Tom Estes from Buckley Bryant as our planning solicitor.
I'm sorry, point of order. We are short of a solicitor, so I'm going to have to pull. I don't know. I'm winging it, but there was a motion and a second and no vote for the record.
On the solicitor, there was no vote.
Oh.
On that motion.
All in favor?
I'd
Aye.
Nay.
like to make a motion to remove Tom Estes from Buckley Bryant as our planning solicitor effective immediately.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to meet with the municipal authority to have them meet with us to talk about the need for a new solicitor for the municipal authority as well.
So you guys didn't even ask them before you did that either.
Well, we can't force municipal
Okay,
authority who they
understood,
choose, but
understood.
we like to
The
talk
motion-
about it.
So I would
was
like
the
it also on,
motion to
I would
talk
like it
to
also
the-
on record, official of this meeting, I will be stepping down from chairman. I will be moving myself to member, only because I feel as though I cannot trust my own board to keep me in the loop of any and all of their meetings. Tonight is the first time I've actually heard that there was any interest in a planning commission appointment, which shows me a very strong possible sunshine law violation between the two. So I'll be stepping down tonight officially as the chairman. I'll move myself to member, and that will be the end of me tonight, speaking as your chairman.
Thank you. Basically, the reason that we're removing the solicitor is nothing that Tom has done for performance-wise, but it's actually to save the township taxpayers money, Kyle. There's no need for the planning stages. The planning commission is in our township an advisory to us, the board of supervisors, and to have a solicitor, a separate solicitor, as a planning solicitor, as well as another one for a supervisor board. There's mixed. You might get a different interpretation of what the board is preferring, and the planning commission is there to listen to new plans and planning for the future of our township. They should not be asking really legal advice or even bringing that up at planning commission meetings. And if so, then we could send our township solicitor to sit in to cover any legal questions. That way they have what the interest of the board for the interest of the taxpayers at mind. So it actually is going to end up saving the taxpayers.
Okay, well, the next point of order would be for you guys to decide who's going to be your chairman and who's going to be your,
I think we can decide that before next meeting.
well, you have to continue to run a meeting. I just stepped down.
You're stepping down effective immediately.
Oh,
I thought
absolutely.
you said after tonight. I don't know if we want to make an appointment tonight, but I'm vice chairman, so I'll sit and run the meeting tonight. And we'll decide before next meeting.
That's fine.
Is that okay? Okay.
Any other items on the agenda?
Any subdivision and zoning applications, Luke?
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to hit rewind one more time. I don't recall a second on your motion related to the municipal authority.
It's more of a request. We wanted to meet with the municipal authority to talk about the future of the municipal authority, a possible case around their solicitor.
So
And
he's
see what
saying it's
direction we're
not
going
a,
and possibly-
is it a request and not a motion?
Yes, it's more of a request.
Right.
Okay. Is there direction in that for staff to arrange such?
We'd like for staff to arrange a meeting with board.
Perhaps a joint meeting of the municipal authority and the board of supervisors? Is that what you have in mind?
Yes.
Okay. We can pick a time and advertise such a meeting. Right. And then the only other, again, functioning weirdly is what a solicitor would usually do in this case. At the reorganization meeting in January of this year, you were appointed as the vice chairman. So just, yeah, so what's happened there is correct. And your resignation, Kyle, is effective immediately. So the remainder of the meeting will be chaired by Supervisor Winters.
Correct.
Okay, and then I would direct any members of the public to revise my earlier suggestion for anyone who has comment there to direct the comment to Supervisor Winters. And I'd also remind everyone that agenda items are later, or comment on agenda items is at the end of your agenda. And anyone who wants to get in the queue to comment, please notify me via the text. That is all.
Thank you. There's no subdivision and zoning applications? I believe there's one.
I'm going to defer to Scott, who runs Point on land development in the township.
Nothing pending tonight, no.
But there was an application submitted today for, I believe it was for the pole barn that was going to be on the driveway. From the driveway, they're going to move it to the grass, and they're going to be a little bit over their impervious surface requirements. They request a variance to seek that additional impervious surface.
That's a zoning hearing, and that's next month.
Zoning application, okay. Okay. Any ordinances or resolutions?
Now,
Any public comment on agenda items?
I see none at this time.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'd like to, actually, we do have to acknowledge there was an executive session held on August 25th for the purpose of discussing legal matters, and as well as an executive session earlier this evening to discuss legal matters. Personnel.
There's actually 3 executive sessions to announce. The one, so there's a second page to your agenda.
And as well as another Board of Supervisors executive session on September 10th for the purpose of discussing legal matters.
Thank you.
And then do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.